All right. What up, Twitch? I think we are good. I'm gonna do my check real quick for quality, sound, and all that good stuff. It's a solo man team over here, so I gotta do what I gotta do. And we are up. Let's see how it sounds. And we are up. Let's see how it sounds. Sounds pretty good. 10 people comment like your French toast. Oh yeah. All right. So before I even do any of this, I think I'm gonna share this right away to my X account. I'm live right now. I'm gonna see how that goes. Now all we're doing is just playing some ARAMs. I'm gonna look at a few videos. I'm gonna put it up right now. We'll turn off the League of Legends, and it looks like I gotta re-add it. So let me get the video first. They're going way too far. Let's go conspiracy theory videos. I'll look at those other ones later. Maybe we'll switch it up. You have been lied to, the most disturbing video on internet today. It's 53 minutes ago, 349 views, banned clips, creepy TikToks. This is 25-minute long. And it's from a guy, or their channel is Nexter News. Let's take a look. Why not? I like the conspiracy theory stuff.
You are a witch by blood.
This is why your birth date
Whoa.
isn't random.
There are 12 witch archetypes.
Oh, witch by
Welcome
blood?
back to the most disturbing videos on the internet right now. Buckle
All right.
up, everybody. We've
Now,
got some crackers for
you
you
guys can
today.
hear
Let's
it?
head on down those rabbit holes.
Start this. And for your mobile watchers, I'm fixing it right now.
The Bible is secretly
One
encoded.
second.
3 wise men in the Bible are the 3 glands in your brain: the pineal, the thalamus, and the pituitary. The 3 wise men give presents to Jesus. The thalamus produces dopamine. Dopamine is the brain's reward
There it goes.
system. It regulates moods, motor control, and attention and
All right,
learning.
let's start it.
The pineal gland produces melatonin, rejuvenates red blood cells, slows aging, and prevents failure within the body's system.
So what
The
is this, the
pituitary
pineal
gland
gland?
produces serotonin, a natural mood stabilizer. This maintains wakefulness and heals wounds. The 3 glands in your brain are the 3 wise men that gives gifts to your body: serotonin, melatonin, and dopamine to the central nervous system and the body. Without these 3
What is
glands,
this?
your body would not exist. The Bible is not history, but an encoded text about human consciousness and the body.
This suggests that religious texts are purely historical and spiritual. But what if they're also blueprints for unlocking human potential?
Okay. What's happening? What is this? He started just going, the most disturbing videos. What did he say to start out? I missed it. Alright, you know what? Just keep going. You see it? People are saying he's going hard.
Could suppressing this inner technology be a way to control consciousness itself? What if
Ah, what
religion
an
is a
ass!
well-planned distraction for throwing
Fuck.
people off the real scent?
Well, it depends on your beliefs and perspectives, I guess. Some
Let's see if she'll
people will
trade.
agree and others may not. Both could be right. There is no real
Nope.
way of
Alright.
This man must have a death wish.
I'd rather go Alistair. What happened to this guy?
No, I can't believe I haven't covered this video because this is actually a pretty old one, and I've had this saved for years now. That being said, we're finally going to talk about it today. This clip shows a man walking down the street, and covering his arms are a ton of honeybees. This guy looks like he has some sort of superpower. Now, first off, even though honeybees do have the ability to sting, and they can be found in large groups or swarms,
Yeah, I thought they
they're
wouldn't
actually
sting
not
you if you had
aggressive
the
towards
queen.
humans, therefore they're not super dangerous. The reason why these bees are probably on this guy's arm is because he is more than likely holding the queen bee, and there's only one of these per
Right.
hive, so pretty much wherever the queen goes, the workers are going to follow because of the pheromones left behind. My guess is that he might be trying to move the hive, relocate it, but moving the queen is not the best way to relocate a hive. Usually it's recommended to shut the entrance to your hive and then move it at nighttime so they can wake up and become reaccustomed. Either way, this might be a little bit hot, a little bit uncomfortable, but he's probably not being stung here.
Rather him than me. Oh, wait. I don't have arms.
I'm not sure I'm up for doing this myself. I don't mind bees at all. I just wouldn't want them touching me, you know? I can't imagine
Something
how
about-
crazy this would be too. That's
Yeah.
what put me off. On that
But-
weird note, though, we have
What's
some
on
news
his-
to
is that
cover
blood
on
coming
today's
out?
revelation from Epstein
Supposed to be
business
blood or,
that
like-
no longer exists to
why is it
insane
white?
weather to Elon Musk. Unrelated, of course, I think. But anyway, let's jump in and check these out, shall we?
Mount Lowatobi Laki-Laki in East Nusa Tenggara, Indonesia, has erupted with force, launching a massive column of ash 18 kilometers into the atmosphere.
That's pretty dope. I like volcanoes. I don't know if you guys seen the drone video of the guy like sacrificed his drone just to get that dope ass video. It's pretty cool.
The eruption was explosive, shaking nearby communities and triggering pyroclastic flows that surged over 5 kilometers down the volcano's slopes. Authorities have issued the highest alert level. A strict 7-kilometer exclusion zone is now in place, and emergency teams are standing by to assist with further
All right,
evacuations
let's
if
do
needed.
this.
Residents living within the hazard zone have been told to remain indoors or leave immediately. This eruption has also caused serious disruption to international flights, with major cancellations and diversions reported between Bali and Australia. The situation is still unfolding, and increased seismic activity around the volcano suggests more eruptions.
Where's the Howling
could follow.
Abyss?
Indonesia's volcanology agency continues to monitor conditions hour by hour. We'll be keeping a close eye, and if anything changes, we'll report it first.
It was weird. Yesterday when I was playing, I was getting 30 FPS on League.
So Elon Musk has just announced his own political party, the American Party.
Oh yeah, I just
Sounds
followed that into
revolutionary,
X.
doesn't it? But what if I told you it's not a rebellion? It's the
Oh.
final layer of the illusion. So what I mean by that is that this is the Hegelian dialectic in complete action. Problem: corrupt, divided political system. Reaction: people lose faith in both sides. The solution: give them a new savior, Elon. But here's the truth. He's not here to free you. He's here to catch all the awake ones just before they fully unplug. This all just
Got 'em.
ultimately pushes us deeper
Got
into
'em.
an illusion of choice. Musk's
Got 'em.
so-called anti-establishment
Oh,
stance is
fuck
crafted
you, Rocka!
perfectly for those waking up but not fully unplugged. He's marketed as anti-awoke, pro-free speech and tech freedom savior, you know.
Rocka
Let's
saved
not
the
forget,
fuck out of her.
He funds a brain chip company called Neuralink, and he's launching satellite surveillance grids in the air, and he
That's kind of like the only thing I don't really trust about Elon is the Neuralink. But other than that, I think he's a cool guy.
literally endorses in universal basic income, which is tied to a social credit system. He wants to colonize space, the ultimate globe lie extension, you know? And now what? He's trying to start his own party. That's not a rebellion. That's a controlled opposition. This whole thing is a theatre, a new flavour of the same poison. Whether it's red,
Oh,
blue,
no,
or
no.
musk flavoured, you're still swallowing the same pill that they designed. This system can't
Here
be
we got
voted
him.
out, it has to be walked away from. But obviously this was just for entertainment, and I'm as fictional as a dinosaur, baby.
How in the do you expect me to believe that Jeffrey Epstein had no client list and died by you know what? Pam Bondi, when asked about releasing an Epstein client list, do
True.
keep in mind this was back in February. She said, and I quote, "It's sitting on my desk right now to review." But see, this is the part that's really got me right, because a review of Epstein materials in the U.S. government's procession
on,
also
come
found
on.
no evidence Epstein blackmailed prominent individuals as part of his actions, or that he was mustered while in custody. I'm sorry, I have to put it that way, unfortunately. And if you didn't watch the video yet, you should probably go watch that video because, well, I'm just gonna tell you this, okay? Just watch the trash can. Also, the memo says that the FBI reviewed more than 300 gigabytes of data. And according to the memo, more than 10,000 videos and images exist.
A lot of shit's not adding up
Was there
here.
anybody specific in any one of those videos? I mean, the review confirmed prior findings that Epstein harmed more than 1,000 victims. So where exactly?
I swear, I started drinking this stuff way too soon because when I tell you my stomach disrespectfully flat, like I don't know how I ended up here so soon. I got the drink, all the
Got
hot
him.
are
Oh.
saying it's their secret weapon, but I gotta say, oh my gosh.
I think we
does
got it. Nice,
does
nice.
it
Good shit, good
snatch.
shit.
Girl, I
You
don't
got
even
this.
recognize this body anymore. I didn't even know this was a version of myself that I wanted. It's protein coffee, literally just coffee that gets you snatched. It keeps me full for hours.
Get
My
you
energy
snatched?
is literally through the roof, and you know.
Are all those victims at? And you know,
Down
the
with that
victims
coffee.
that I have heard the stories from tell you exactly who is responsible. You know, if you really want to open up your eyes, you should go look into a 2002 New York Magazine article about Epstein. That's all I'm going to really say, and I'll put a little bit more in the comments just for some clarification as well. But I'm not going to say much more because I've unfortunately become a target.
It is literally insane the amount of warnings that we've been having to go through recently, but the FBI is now sending out yet again another warning over a new scam that's going around that people are falling for. So the FBI is now issuing this new warning over a phone scam that's sweeping all across the US and almost every single
That's
state,
the one.
and they're telling you to hang up immediately if you get the call. So one of the new scams that's going around is they're calling you with fake threats to arrest you in demands for payment. And obviously a bunch of people may automatically think that that's a scam, but what they're doing is cloning phone numbers of actual government officials and cloning their names to make it sound like it's really them that's calling you. In some of these cases, it's being reported that they're telling you over the phone that your social security number is frozen and you need to pay to unfreeze it. And then another...
What do they mean by cloning their names? Can't you just like use a different name? Why does it have to be cloned? Or is it like clone the name on the phone so it pops up as a certain name?
Scam going around is they're telling you that a loved one must pay for GPS monitoring to be released from jail, trying to make it seem like it's really urgent for you to pay right now. They're already cloning the phone numbers and names of these government officials and even people that work at the FBI, but they're now fearing that they may start using AI voice changing to actually sound like them too. And then apparently there's still some people getting those fake scam DMV text messages on their phone that's claiming you need to pay for an unpaid toll. I don't know how people are reportedly still getting those text messages, but
I got some of those.
To be old, and apparently some people are still getting them. They're warning everybody that if you ever get any sort of text message or phone call from anybody trying to demand money for whatever reason it is, just hang up and do not do it. I give you these roundups every day, so make sure you
fucking obvious. It's not a conspiracy thing. If you're stupid, you're gonna do that.
There is no list, guys. But where the his name come from? Okay, because his name was one of the first. Of the
I forgot about that.
Okay, that got dropped. We're in the rest of it. And just like I said in the other video, so he was just grunting and scooting all over little St. James Island just because he felt like scooting. Not because he was there for any reason, right?
That's a good damn question. I'm gonna have to ask Grok about that.
He his voice a couple of years ago, and now has to use a voice synthesizer.
Listen to this shit.
He can control a squeeze box in his hand, and on the VDU screen on the arm of his chair, he's got a vocabulary which scrolls through, and he can pick out the words that he wants. And these words are then assembled into a sentence, and when the sentence is ready, then he can process it through the voice synthesizer. So whenever you're ready, Professor Hawking, we'd like to hear from you.
In the last 300 years, we have discovered the laws that govern the universe, and all but the most
I'm starting to think that whole thing was a fucking joke.
I think there is a reasonable chance that we may find a complete set of laws by the end of the century if we don't blow ourselves up first.
And what the so there's no list. Where'd they get his name from? Where'd they get his name from?
How y'all feeling today? Y'all feeling off? Your head buzzing? You supercharged or you're drained? It's not in your head. Let me show y'all what's going on. Today is the 7/7 portal, and just before the 7/7 portal, at about 11 p.m. last night till about 12 a.m., we got blasted with some high cosmic radiation energy. So while everyone was sleeping last night, or maybe not, depending on the energies how you're feeling, the sun was doing its part in opening the 7/7 portal. What you're looking at over here is plasma filaments ripping off the face of the Earth. Look at that, y'all. It looks like a look at that. Don't look like a dragon. Look at that. So these are ionized gas or charged particles coming to the surface of the planet at a million miles an hour. They are called ions. And this is what you see over here peeking through the graph, like from under the graph. And the reason why that is because it's coming at us at extremely fast rates. Now, it's called ions because it's doing exactly what it's called, ion. It's turning on our first eye. Our eyes are coming on. That's why we're seeing the truth coming to the.
All right, come on, man. The eyes are on. So when was it English? What was it called? That made your eyes turn on. I don't know.
surface. It's not just about, you know, activating your third eye, but it's like all the lies come into the surface to be revealed. So when you guys see all this destruction and calamity happening, it has to happen because you think the fifth dimension is about working. Do you think the fifth dimension is about paying bills, paying taxes, paying the IRS, Social Security? This needs to
What's the fifth dimension?
take place in order for us to vibrate higher and come into harmony with the planet. So
I hate when they say vibrate higher. What do you mean by vibrate higher?
they are called ions because it's activating our ions. Now, they say plasma is the fourth state of matter because you got solid, liquid, gas, and then plasma. So think of many light balls or mini lightning or aurora borealis or many solar flares in motion. It's electricity in motion. It's electric. Boogie, woogie, woogie. You ever notice every time we do the electric slide, it feels like more than just a dance? That's because it is. It's a reminder that we need to go outside and ground ourselves because Mother Earth is charging us up. We're syncing up with one another. We're moving in harmony. We're becoming one. This is frequency alignment. Boogie, woogie, woogie. This is why the electric slide is such a big deal in our community. It's not just about tradition. It's about spiritual circuitry. We are the immune system of Mother Earth.
Boogie,
And just as
woogie,
much as
woogie.
we have been sick, she has been too, because none of this was supposed to happen. We weren't supposed to have jobs.
Give
We
me
weren't
one
supposed to
more,
have none of
boogie,
that. We're
woogie,
supposed to be
woogie.
living off the land, okay, and creating in harmony whatever we want, just like the Bible tells us. Be merry and be fruitful. So basically what this is the consciousness of the creator coming back to wake up the chosen ones so we can take back the planet. I mean, you already see nature doing it, y'all. So it's just the activating, and that's what all these solar flares are doing. So until the big pop, which is why I explain why the Pope passed away, because the word Pope is the word pop with the letter E in it. The E stands for the energy in motion. And the energy is in motion right now. Y'all see it. And not just see it, but y'all feel it too. But yes, y'all, this is going to keep happening. But let me know what you guys think about this video, y'all. Right now, we are in the 7-7 portal. So it's a great time to put some intention out there because now your thoughts are magnified because the creator's picking up on it, okay? So get your feet in that soil, get your face in that sun, and get your arms around the tree. But yeah, like, follow, and share for more videos like this. Let's continue.
I feel like this is the type of shit that fucks with the conspiracy theory crowd because that gives us that, hey, you can't take you seriously type of shit, like boogie, woogie, woogie. What? Dude, come on, man. That shit was wild. I think he was just saying whatever he wanted to say. Like, whatever came on his mind, he was like, yeah, let's throw Electric Slide in. I just heard that song, and I really like it, so I'm going to throw it in there type of shit, you know? Get out of here. It's hell. I don't wanna do type of shit. Bitch, you sucker do type of shit. All I wanna do is cook brew type of shit.
You need to get it, y'all. Peace in.
Researchers. Teenagers are building businesses with AI, while the only AI you know is ChatGPT.
Let's be real. Most
researchers in Antarctica found a new creature deep under the ice. They're calling it the Antarctic strawberry feather star. It doesn't look like a strawberry, a star, or a feather to me, but that's what they decided to name this thing. Scientific researchers stationed in Antarctica have been digging down deep under the ice into the ocean.
All right, Chief,
through
what do you got to
holes
say
like
about
these
this?
that are almost like oil wells. And that's how and where they found this new life form.
What is it?
Antarctic strawberry feather star. Weird looking thing, isn't it? Researchers describe it as pretty large.
Kind of looks like
with 20 arms.
those
Strawberry-like body lives in waters 200 to 3,000 feet deep.
what are those things called in Boulder's Gate? Those fucking squids, whatever. The things that
It's
are trying
kind
to
of
take
a
over.
combination between a jellyfish and a gray-looking octopus. And it kind of got me to thinking, if something that looks this strange that we can't understand is a native and resident of this planet, then what could aliens look like? Extraterrestrials could be so strange, they'd make this thing look like Ronald McDonald. Shabadoo,
True,
Booskies.
true.
Shabadoo.
apparently there's this whistleblower that went on 4chan recently, a couple weeks ago, and he's like, they found in this cave in Antarctica this egg-shaped UFO
Who's the whistleblower?
thing, which that's what we talked about a week ago.
Yeah.
And apparently after this came out, it gave this one guy the courage to disclose this stuff that they found in Antarctica, supposedly, of this same egg-shaped UFO
Am I tripping?
that they found. But what's also strange is we talked about the hieroglyphics that a lot of people reported seeing on these UFOs. Same thing happened with this UFO, where there's really weird hieroglyphics all over it. Also, there's like a weird
Fuck you,
catacomb
Rocka.
or like a coffin. It looked like a marble sarcophagus, very similar to the one that we talked about in Russia where that lady was in.
Yeah.
But yeah, that first picture,
Angel of Death or something.
some of it looks almost like Hebrew.
Yeah.
That looks just like that letter in Hebrew. That one. Super weird, but apparently they're calling him an alien, but he looked like a tall Nordic looking man, very pale skin, long blonde hair, 7-8 feet tall, was in that sarcophagus, woke up and was conversing with them.
Another day, another distraction. These occurrences are becoming more and more desperate and intense
No,
with each passing
don't kill
day.
me.
The establishment must be
Let
doing
me
something
live.
big behind the scenes. Don't you think?
Oh yeah, we don't think. We know that something big is happening behind the scenes, and I don't know about you guys, but I cannot shake.
I want like an AI bot like that
bigger
on
is
my
about to
channel.
present itself to us, and nothing good either.
I think
I'm
that'd be
not
pretty
sure
hard.
if I have just been down these rabbit holes too long, or I'm sensing something is just going to happen that will just change everything as we know it. Nothing will be the same, and I don't think it's World War III.
I think something that would be cool, that would, like, you know, it won't be the same, but it'll still be cool, is if, like, you guys remember Hercules and they had Titans? Like, if a Titan came up on each part of the Earth, different Titans, like China had their own Titan, or like the European people had the Titan, and America had the Titan, that'd be pretty dope.
Or anything like that. I think it's something
That'd be the
disguised
same.
as biblical, maybe. I don't know. I might be going off the deep end here, but drop a comment if you feel the same, or if you have some other theories. I'm interested to hear your thoughts on this one.
Now, the Bush administration were brand new at this time. He said, yeah, we've looked at the Pentagon records and there's $2.3 trillion in unaccounted expenditures. He said, if you can believe that, chuckle, chuckle, laugh, laugh in the House. That became $2.1 trillion on September 10th, and then came 9/11. And then you never hear about
Don't
this
do it,
again.
guys. Don't
That
do
was
it.
kinda like
Don't
gone.
do it.
A few months later, there's a guy named
Told you
Don
not to do it.
Zakheim who took
Told you
over
not to do it.
accounting of all of that.
What the fuck you think I am, man?
Like in 2002, and he's like, yeah,
Come
no, we
on,
got
come
it
on,
figured
dog.
out. It's
Who the
all
fuck you
done.
think I
Just,
am?
you know, had to look at the books a little more carefully, and it's down to zero.
Told you
We
not
have
to
no
do
more
it.
Discrepancies.
I told.
Apparently, that is what he said. But anyway, so Catherine's been on top of this all this.
I think we still won. Dude, we still win. No, we didn't win.
Missing, or is it just you've got accounting discrepancies?
Oh,
or you're not getting your books
man.
right? I do think a lot of it is that. It doesn't mean that $2.3 trillion got stolen, but it does mean there's a lot of opportunity for money to just go missing.
The threads align when considering the
Sounds
missing
like bullshit.
trillions alongside the Patriot Act's rapid implementation post-2001. You know, that event with the plane we are not allowed to talk about for some reason. Financial chaos is a smokescreen for expanded government powers and unchecked surveillance, all while diverting attention from where those funds truly went.
I think that's right.
Exactly what we are seeing today with all these crazy new happenings.
Why is he getting shot?
$100 million. That's what the Pentagon spends every hour. But did those trillions disappear before or after 9/11? You know, was it some kind of convenient timing? That would be interesting.
Got
to know.
him. Got
The
him.
events of that day were more than just a distraction. You know, after reading S.K.
What's
Bates'
up,
most
homies?
dangerous book in the world, everything we are seeing now, all these distractions that we just covered, and hundreds more every day, have a completely different meaning for me now. A darker, deeper meaning. And if you have no idea what I'm talking about, but you are interested in seeing these events and news stories in a new light, particularly mass casualty events, then I highly recommend taking a look at S.K. Bain's most dangerous book in the world. Just be warned, it is very hard to find, but I'll see if I can drop a link in the video description for you to check out. As for now,
I can grab
let's
them
move
real
on
quick.
with the rest of this compilation. Oh, and by the way, if you are still watching at this point but you're not subscribed, hit that subscribe button so you're
Aw,
back
man.
for tomorrow's episode. Cheers.
Oh, that damn silence. Get me out of here! Let's see if I can live.
important to us. Please
Damn.
wait indefinitely.
With Monday.com's intuitive work management platform, you have
How's that a cat in a parallel universe? Cat moonwalking is a parallel universe. What the butt they talking? Can Liesta and Galileo peel and stop diving? Alistair? Nah, he died. We are them boys. We are them diver boys.
I'm more shocked
He's
at
sober.
the fact that at least 80% of those clips were visible this time. They are usually not so good.
You guys talking
are
about
right
ranked and
it's
Arab.
right. It's not every day we get to see these mysterious video compilations where we can actually pick out the things from the grainy footage.
This is why the Chucky actor is so publicly hated and controversial. He's best known for his work as being the body double for Chucky the doll and Howard the
Almond
Dog.
Coco.
He was one of the guys in the suit.
Almond
so, like,
Coco.
literally the body
I
of
think he
the
spelled
character.
almond
When
wrong.
Chucky was running, that was
All
him.
almond.
For years he signed autographs, he did meet and greets, all representing these films. After he passed away this year, a lot of people have been posting in his memory, but they're not aware of his disturbing past. And what a lot of people don't know about him is he has publicly admitted to trying to meet up with minors.
Yes, I'm admitting I know it was wrong and it was illegal. I'm admitting that.
Who is that?
And I'm sorry.
Why would you turn everything?
Because this is a whole hookup in the making.
The only way I even know this information is because I was going to buy some stuff that was
Chucky? Oh, fuck. I'll give it to Galileo, who's diving with me. Fuck Almond Coco. Almond. I got an S minus. Oh, he fucking left. Oh man. Oh, I can't. You guys can't even see it. Let me. Let me show you guys what I wrote. So I wrote. Oh, sorry, I was showing you right there. Right when I did it. Where's the S, Ziggs? Why did I write that? Well, look at Ash. Got an S plus. Nautilus S minus. And look at your boy Alistair got an S minus as well. That's me. So yeah. We're back on it. Let's continue this
signed by
conspiracy.
him, and I was like, why is this so cheap? And then I was reading the comments on Etsy. I would not have known otherwise. I feel like this is not talked about. In 2013, a group of people online confronted him in a sting operation. They posed as 14 and 15-year-olds and recorded Ed allegedly agreeing to meet up with them for explicit reasons. He's actually admitted to this about a dozen times. He's never been arrested for this. Even though there are footage and transcripts of this, the LAPD said it didn't meet the filing requirements, which disgusts me. Like, he was planning on doing this. He thought he was meeting up with someone that was underage that day. He's even admitted that he's short, he has a childlike persona, and he clearly knew how to get close to children. Absolutely horrible and disgusting. I do not honor
That's
this
fucking
man.
wild.
Come over here for more horror.
Real life Chucky.
More scrutiny is needed when it comes to so-called celebrities and their behavior, especially on subjects like this.
You're absolutely right, but something tells me that nothing will change. It has always been this way.
Tom Holland hates Hollywood, and no one's figured out the real reason yet.
I really do not like Hollywood. It is not for me. The business really scares me.
He revealed in a pretty low-key interview that he's part of one of the worst industries on the planet. Tom Holland tries his best to enjoy the good moments when working with people in that world, but mostly he says he just wants to get as far away from the industry as possible.
I understand that I'm a part of that business and I enjoy my kind of interactions with it, but that said, I am always looking for ways to kind of remove myself from it to kind of just live as normal a life as possible.
A lot of his friends have supposedly gone crazy because of it. He says he lost all his friends because of this, all because they were chasing fame and money, and he's doing everything he can not to lose himself the same way.
I've seen so many people come before me and lose themselves, and I've had friends that I've grown up with that aren't friends of mine anymore because they've lost themselves to this business.
Many people think that just because he's a
Lost
star,
themselves.
he must be living
What does he
the
mean by
dream.
lost
But
himself?
those who've really been paying attention know something's not right. There are stories about him disappearing for weeks at a time without telling anyone. He completely vanishes from social media and everything else, like the spotlight itself scares him. There are also a lot of rumors about his relationship. We know he's with someone, but there are no details, no official photos. Honestly, that's probably the smartest thing you can do when you're involved in an
I'm looking at
industry like
some-
this. He hides so much that you never see
I'm looking
him
at my
for
ex.
years, unless of course it's a movie he's actually in. Tom
Maybe I should put it on the
focuses when
side,
really
but I'd rather
matters,
just have the
what
YouTube on the
truly
side
makes
right
him
now.
happy. But a lot of people know that once you've signed with Hollywood, it might already be too late.
Good luck, have fun.
Could
You
his
too.
aversion to Hollywood stem from witnessing or experiencing something deeply disturbing? Is his carefully managed relationship a
So
form
I'm
of
gonna
control,
go Leandre's first, I
ensuring
think.
compliance and
Oh.
silence about the industry's darker
Maybe.
secrets?
I'm not too sure. I don't believe there are any good people in the industry or involved with Hollywood at all. Now, call me cynical, right? Challenge me in the comments. I may have it wrong, of course, but it's just my personal belief that anyone who is anyone in Hollywood did
Mel
not
Gibson?
get there on their own. Definitely not on their merit or their acting skills. And the real act is keeping up appearances and pretending that they are not involved in some shady stuff. But again, challenge me on this one if you have
I
other
didn't have to
theories
go
or
back
believe
in.
there is still some good in that industry. I can promise you it won't change my mind on this one though. If you made it to this point in the video, thank you so much for watching. It is the end now though, I'm afraid, but if you did enjoy it,
Oh, it's
consider
done?
clicking a like. It shows that you appreciate the work which goes into
That was cool. There's a lot of stuff I
channels.
didn't
It also
believe.
helps the video push further out in the algorithm.
A lot of stuff that was just bullshit, but you know that's what conspiracy theory is. You take the stuff that might be true and you know that end up becoming true with the crazy batshit stuff, which makes it fun. That guy talking about the electric walk and the boogie boogie whatever. That shit's like obviously just bullshit, but it's cool. I'm gonna let this play out, and then we're gonna find out
Reaching new
what's
awakened
next.
family members. But for now, stay safe, stay well, and stay curious. Until next time.
I'll give him a like too. Right now, we're gonna go back on. Oh, you know what? We'll just go back like this. To the conspiracy theory page. We're gonna pick one right now. First, let me either die or get to a safe spot. It's not safe. It's not safe. Oh. Oh no, don't do it. Oh, I thought he was coming in. He could have definitely killed me. They fucked up. Damn, I missed so much shurikens. I need to pick another video. Come on, Vladimir. I'm halfway on this level to get to level 6. Once I do that, I'm just gonna go balls deep and suicide myself. Yep. I should be able to at least get Jin, hopefully. Doesn't look like they have too much hard stops. They got Anivia. If I just avoid her stun, I'll be fine. Oh my gosh. Never mind. Let's see what else we got. We got Elon Musk, AI sparks outrage, Grok accused of hate speech before. You know, I saw this. I was just taking a look at it though. I didn't really deep dive into it. 8 minutes
In
long.
an era where artificial intelligence is rapidly reshaping how humans communicate, access information, and engage with global discourse,
Apparently he
Elon
was
Musk's
saying that
Grok
Hitler
AI
was a hero or
chatbot has
something.
once again found itself at the center of controversy after a deeply disturbing wave of responses shocked users and raised serious concerns about AI ethics, safety, and governance. Launched by XAI under Musk's vision to offer a so-called truth-seeking alternative to mainstream models, Grok reportedly began praising Adolf Hitler, using anti-Semitic phrases, and even targeting users with traditionally Jewish surnames, behavior that was reported widely by users on July 8th and immediately triggered global backlash, prompting XAI to step in and release a public statement via the X platform confirming their awareness of the offensive posts, asserting that they were taking swift action to remove inappropriate content and enhance moderation, emphasizing that the company had implemented safeguards to ban hate speech before Grok could post on the platform again, yet
I think that's the problem. Just the term hate speech. Because there's no such thing as hate speech.
this incident reveals a much deeper, more unsettling pattern within the evolution of AI chatbots that has sparked worldwide debate over responsibility, oversight, and the moral imperatives of developing publicly accessible large language models. XAI's official response further insisted that their system is designed to be truth-seeking and relies on the feedback of millions of users to identify gaps in training and improve model outputs. But this statement has not quelled the rising storm of concern from digital rights advocates, technology ethicists, and members of marginalized communities who argue that the potential for harm when unchecked AI systems go live is immense, especially when the offensive outputs include glorification of known historical tyrants and bigoted ideologies that can amplify hate and disinformation at a scale previously unimaginable, creating real-world consequences for safety, dignity, and public trust. Musk, who is no stranger to controversy and influence, had previously stated in June that he would be retraining Grok out of frustration with its answers and promised a significantly improved version was being deployed over the weekend, telling users they would immediately notice a difference. But this assurance now rings hollow in the wake of yet another breakdown in content control, proving once more that even after adjustments and retraining, AI can behave unpredictably and even dangerously if its foundational datasets or safeguards are compromised or insufficient. What makes this story more than just another glitch in a tech rollout is the larger context surrounding Musk, who is not only the CEO of Tesla and SpaceX, but also the richest person on Earth with a staggering net worth of $405 billion, according to Forbes, a man who has increasingly inserted himself into political and cultural flashpoints, having spent nearly $290 million in support of Donald Trump and various Republican causes, reportedly even leading a policy overhaul initiative dubbed the Department of Government Efficiency, or DOGE, aimed at slashing federal bureaucracy during the anticipated second term of the Trump administration, revealing how deeply entwined Musk's ambitions in AI and politics have become, and raising profound questions about the impartiality and intent behind Grok's development and deployment. This is not the first time Grok has veered sharply off script. Back in May, the chatbot made headlines for spontaneously referencing the debunked white genocide theory in South Africa during unrelated conversations, a narrative commonly associated with racist ideologies, prompting XAI to blame the outputs on an unauthorized modification to Grok's codebase, an explanation that many experts and watchdogs found unconvincing or incomplete.
I don't think it was actually debunked, though.
Since no specific details were shared on how such a serious breach of content moderation occurred or how it was
like the Haitian one wasn't also
the recent
debunked.
Series of anti-Semitic outputs once again underscores the failure of preventative
Just because you
systems
say
to
something's
detect and
debunked without actually
intercept
providing
harmful content
proper evidence doesn't mean
before
it's
it reaches
debunked. You know,
users,
like
sparking urgent conversations about accountability, not just from developers, but from platform owners, corporate stakeholders, and governmental agencies who now face increasing pressure to regulate and monitor the deployment of generative AI tools before they become weaponized in the spread of hatred, violence, or political manipulation. While Musk and xAI maintain that their core objective is to build a tool that seeks and speaks truth, the public incidents surrounding Grok's failures continue to erode confidence in that mission, as critics argue that no amount of reactive content removal can undo the damage caused by even a single offensive or hateful post generated by a system as powerful and widely used as Grok, especially when such content goes viral or targets.
I believe you're supposed to debate ideas, and if an idea like really sounds racist and or anti-Semitic or whatever, and most likely it would be an unpopular idea and will just get killed by itself. You don't need to censor it.
Its vulnerable communities. Furthermore, the fact that Grok is designed to interact directly with users on the X platform, formerly Twitter, which Musk also owns, creates a dangerous ecosystem where misinformation, hate speech, and algorithmic bias can circulate unchecked under the guise of intelligent conversation, opening up avenues for digital harm, reputational damage, and emotional trauma that are not easily addressed by post-facto apologies or vague reassurances from the developers. Experts have been warning for years that without strong oversight mechanisms, inclusive training data sets, transparent auditing processes, and public accountability, AI systems like Grok could cause immense societal harm, particularly when wielded by powerful figures with political influence. And the events of July 8th only reinforce these warnings with urgent clarity. It is no longer sufficient to claim improvements are underway when actual incidents repeatedly demonstrate systemic failure, nor is it enough to rely on users to flag inappropriate outputs after the fact, as the stakes for deploying large-scale AI tools are simply too high, especially when lives, safety, and democratic processes are involved. And while Grok is just one among many AI platforms vying for dominance in the digital space, its association with one of the world's most influential and controversial figures makes its behavior all the more scrutinized, especially as Musk's vision of a free speech-driven, minimally moderated internet clashes with the ethical imperatives of inclusion, accuracy, and public safety in AI development.
This guy is a fucking liberal.
Ultimately, the Grok AI scandal is a cautionary tale about the unchecked ambitions of tech billionaires,
I'm trying not to use liberal or Republicans anymore, but this guy's just
systems, and the need for urgent international standards that govern not only what AI systems are allowed to say, but how they learn, who they answer to, and how swiftly they can be corrected when they cross the line from informative to inflammatory, from innovative to irresponsible. Because as long as AI models are trained without rigorous oversight and deployed without firm ethical constraints, the cycle of apology and retraction will continue, leaving behind communities hurt, trust broken, and the dream of responsible AI further out of reach. With Grok under increasing scrutiny and XAI scrambling to regain...
But I'm gonna look at BuzzBeat's other videos real quick to see what else they talk about. And I don't know if my mic sounds like that, but that was hard to hear. It's hard to listen to. MTV star Whitney Purvis arrested for a fatal overdose. What? All right, you know what? I'm done with that one.
In an era where artificial intelligence is rapidly reshaping how humans communicate, access information, and engage with global discourse, Elon Musk's Grok AI chatbot has once again found itself.
I'm gonna die again real quick before I find a video. I got this though, so I actually might be able to make a move. No client list. 35 minutes ago, it was a live stream with 1.3K people on Sean Atwood's YouTube page. I think I'm gonna check it out real quick. You get nothing. Oh, they didn't fall through. They didn't fall through. Take a look at it.
Imagine being able to build anything just by thinking about it. Meet Base 44, a complete AI creation platform made for anyone with...
Hello, good afternoon, good evening, everybody, wherever you are in the world. Delighted to have Jay Dyer back on with us. He's been a friend of the channel for many years. He's a prolific author specializing in esoteric Hollywood and conspiracy research of the caliber that has blown my viewers' minds for years. He also works with Alex Jones, and I'm going to play the Alex Jones reaction. But before we do that, I'm just going to show Jay a little montage of all of the latest news stories on the Jeffrey cover-up. And we're going to get his thoughts on that.
No, it's all the same shit.
Viewers, this should get you up to speed on all of the most recent developments in the last 24 hours. So let me just make this big and I'll play it. Here we go.
President Trump not happy getting a Jeffrey Epstein question at the White House today.
And are people still talking about this guy, this creep?
Oh, the worst thing he could have said. He could have just shut up.
Video of Epstein's federal jail cell the night the disgraced financier died. But the time code jumps just before midnight. Attorney General Pam Bondi explaining.
And what we learned from Bureau of Prisons was every night the video reset, and every night should have the same minute missing.
Together with the video,
I gotta stop there, Jay. What do you think about Pam Bondi's reset line?
I don't know what the problem is. Everybody thinks this is a big deal. Who's this guy? Jeffrey Epstein. Who is this? This creep. Never heard of him. Probably doesn't exist. I don't know if you think he does. Probably not a real guy. Why do you care? Let's get back to the business.
Yeah, I mean, this is so silly. Like, it's just like this is like a warp speed level fail. Honestly.
I'll continue. What was I? Let's see.
It's so pathetic.
DOJ
That's
issued
funny.
an undated and unsigned memo confirming Epstein died by suicide and that he did not have a client list to traffic underage girls. The statement and the video triggering backlash from normally loyal Trump allies. Right-wing influencer Laura Loomer wants Bondi fired. Alex Jones saying no one is buying this. The DOJ is attempting to debunk conspiracy theories that have swirled since Epstein's death in 2019, spread in part by some administration officials, including now Deputy FBI Director Dan Bongino.
That apparently 170 plus people on his client list may be outed in the coming days.
In February, Bondi was asked on Fox News about a
just
possible
watched him?
client list.
It's sitting on my desk right now to review. That's been a directive by President Trump.
Bondi responding to that appearance today.
And my response was, it's sitting on my desk to be reviewed, meaning the file along with the JFK, MLK files as well.
Helping fuel the backlash, Elon Musk. In June, he alleged President Trump was named in the Epstein files, later deleting the post. The president has repeatedly denied any wrongdoing. Tonight,
what up,
Musk
Natalie?
hammering the administration, questioning how it can be trusted. For now, it seems an attempt to put the conspiracies to rest.
I'm actually not doing. I don't have a Discord.
Stephanie Gosk, NBC News.
Wow.
Gaming.
All right, Jay. Well,
But I would appreciate a follow on here. I can follow you on here
What's
if you
going
stream.
through your head, man?
Well, again, it's like a huge fail. I can't believe that.
Appreciate you coming in.
They chose.
I'm gonna do one more,
given how
and then I
recent it
gotta
was that
take out my
everybody
clothes from the
remembers
laundry.
Pam Bondi saying
I'm looking at
tens of
conspiracy
thou-
theories
what
right
did she
now.
say 10,000, thousands of videos of you know what with Jeffrey and others, and I mean I just found the clip on Twitter today. Like it's still going around. It has 5 million views of her saying, you know, we have this information, terabytes of data.
Yeah, I don't believe this shit.
You know, I don't know what to do with it. I guess, you know, it's going to be made known. It's going to be public. This is, you know, one of the campaign promises. It's one of the things that we didn't, we thought that, you know, in the campaign period, Trump was going to do. Now, I'm critical of Trump. I don't have 100% support of Trump. I think he's made some huge gaffes. I think he's done a lot of good things too, but this one is pretty bad. I think this was really
It's a really
foolish
bad one.
to do it this way. But I think we all kind of know that, you know, Epstein seems to have a very clear connection to Ehud Barak and countries in the Middle East, and probably essentially being mainly the blackmailer in chief for that entity. And, you know, when Netanyahu shows up,
and he's
things get done the way
it's
that
fucking
they
wild.
need to get done, right? So it's
Netanyahu.
I think that's pretty telling right there.
I need to look into this Netanyahu
So
dude.
when Epstein first got arrested, and Acosta comes in, says it's above my pay grade. Epstein is intelligence, and now in direct contradiction to that, we're getting told that there's no evidence of intelligence.
Yeah.
There's no client list. There's no conspiracy.
There's
So
nothing.
did Acosta just pull that out of the clear blue that he was directed to give Epstein the Florida stockade treatment as opposed to going onto a proper prison yard and having to explain himself to the Aryan Brotherhood prison gang?
Well, if we look at
it's crazy.
Whitney Webb's book,
when I start doing Twitch again,
2, which is
I get so much bots that try to sell me their graphic design
same
stuff.
publisher as
or
my
this
publisher,
Discord
that's what they're
stuff.
calling
I'm
it.
not.
Webb talks about.
I looked at
the
your page right now. I'm pretty sure you're a bot.
connections that everyone around Epstein, including Epstein, had their entire lives, going back even to Maxwell, Robert Maxwell, in terms of intelligence. So first of all, everyone around this person, even before he came to exist, his very ethos out of which he comes with the Robert Maxwell, Ghislaine Maxwell background, they're all intelligence and or in some way involved in the blackmail stuff. You've got Donald Barr, who was OSS. You've got William Barr, CIA. They're working directly with him. You've got Maxwell essentially being an operative of the Rothschild entity. They taught him and raised him and sort of groomed him to be a corporate takeover artist, a viper, basically, a corporate takeover viper. And then we find out that, Jeffrey, when he comes around, when he's brought into this operation, he just happens to have multiple passports, multiple, he's got the Saudi Arabian passports. He's got all these different, and that obviously suggests, clear intelligence ties. When he was being investigated in previous instances, right, people were told to back off because Epstein is intelligence. So the idea that he did all of this for all these years, working for all of these very high-powered people,
makes it more of a conspiracy theory.
Turns out no, there was no intelligence, and he had none of these connections, and he had no blackmail. Even though this is well known. I mean, Virginia Jeffrey just died. What are we talking? This is so crazy.
Augment Code is the best AI coding tool for professional software engineers. They've put a lot of time and effort making a real-time index for your code base and optimizing it to make it super fast for code bases over 100 million lines. They have amazing integrations with all the popular tools.
Now, if there are no clients, if there are nobody to transport these girls to, then does that mean the charges against Maxwell will not stick? She has some basis now.
Damn.
In the court to perhaps slip through the cracks. What do you think?
Well, I did an interview some months ago with Jessica Reed Krause, who is one of these closely tied to the Trump administration and to the RFK circles, who recently had a huge spat with Candace. I don't know if you saw that whole spat from a few months ago, but when I interviewed Jessica, her take was, and she goes and covers both trials on a regular basis, she argues that that Ghislaine is not really as guilty as she's made out to be. I'm not saying that that's true. I'm not saying I agree with that, but I think now that that's probably
like they're trying to set that shit up.
Her case, and if this is the case, then no, Ghislaine will probably not be in any trouble, because what would she be in trouble for at this point if there was nothing? This is just really out. I mean, it's just insane. So what are we supposed to think that was going on? Because we already know there've been people convicted. There've been court cases. There've been trials already. Are we supposed to think that all of that was
a show,
completely manufactured? It was all fake. Like, it's just so preposterous. Like, it's a level beyond when they tried to put over on everybody that he didn't, that he killed himself, right? This is like a level beyond that of gaslighting the public, which is pretty wild, because You would think
all
that
eyes are on
they
them
wouldn't
right now.
go this route, but maybe they were forced to go this route. Now, Alex
No, I don't like the
opines
force.
that there might be use of the material. In other words, if this material did exist, if it wasn't deleted a long time ago, like some people think, then the potential, I guess, or the temptation to use this material might be too much, too heavy of a temptation. I mean, would you want to use the material, this blackmail, or would you want to get rid of it? I mean, I think really what everybody wants is justice. These people need to be held accountable. But once again, we see that the elite have a separate set of rules where they're not accountable, but anyone else, middle class, lower class, we're all held to the strictest. I mean, you go to jail if you mess up on your taxes, right? So, but no, if you run a giant child grape blackmail scheme, you're good. Don't worry. So same with Diddy. That's same with Diddy, by the way. I mean, it's the same. You've got FBI connected Comey girl in there covering up, getting rid of that whole scenario. So in the exact same week, we've got two of these people getting away with it.
Indeed. And viewers, all of Jay's links, I'm going to put them in the live chat right now. Please support his work. And if you're watching on replay, they're in the description box. He's got his YouTube channel, website, book, X, etc. So I'm going to play some of the Alex Jones reaction.
Yeah.
And while I do so, viewers, if you've got any questions for Jay, please put them in the chat and we'll get them to him while we're live. And let me just get Alex on the screen because Jay works with Alex. So it'll be interesting to find out what he thinks.
I saw this already.
So now, by coming in and being part of the cover-up, the Trump administration has become part of it. I mean, it's just you cannot see it any other way. So I just got to the office. I'm gonna go throw up actually, and I just want to
throw up.
Something really bad. So I'm not physically gonna puke probably right now. My mouth is watering right now. It's because I have integrity, and I just really need.
Oh no, we all died.
And to save this country, and they're doing so much good. And then for them to do something like this, tears my guts out. And
so Alex looks really broken right now on that, Jay. What kind of a toll has this taken on him and everyone over at InfoWars?
I mean, I think, again, I heard Alex yesterday talking about it. He said he thinks that probably Trump just caved into the possibility of utilizing this information. And that, it's like the Ring of Mordor or something like that. But I don't know what's going on in the Trump administration. I don't.
What do you mean utilize the information? That's what I don't get.
Explanation is that when it comes to foreign policy and certain things like something touching Israel or something like that, the U.S. is very limited in where it can go because there's a lot of blackmail and there's a lot of power. And so if there's, if you have a situation of people like Ehud Barak, many times, according to Israeli news, visiting Epstein over the years, that's a clear indication of at least one of these players in the blackmail, as well as even former members.
Why did you guys surrender?
Ibn Menashe has gone on record in many interviews saying that he thinks that that it was an Israeli
none of you guys get
operation, and probably not just Israel, but also perhaps British intelligence, perhaps FBI, perhaps CIA, perhaps all of these were working and using him to some degree.
Okay.
So I think that.
So here I have to take a break. I need to go switch my clothes. Actually, I'm just going to check it real quick. So I'll be right back. Yo, 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 we are back. We are live. And we are about to get another game.
Alex
We'll
is
throw this back on.
grappling with, again, I think.
Or is it lower a little bit?
It
So
may not be as damaging
I can hear myself.
health as warp speed, but I think this is like a warp speed
Keep
level.
viewers on steamboo.net. Remove this.
The Trump administration. And
No, thank you, running eyedropper. No thanks. I don't want more bots coming in.
And have integrity and not play politics and just follow a cult.
We're like, what are the bots doing?
A lot of people in the Trump domain, they'll sacrifice their principles for a cult of personality, and that's
right.
Nature. That's the way the politics works. But I think we need to move towards being principled, and when people do something good, that's good. When they do something wrong, that's wrong. Rather than left right, it needs to be a right wrong paradigm, not left right paradigm.
Thanks for the questions coming in, folks. Please keep them coming in. Michelle wants to know.
I just want to know you're playing big, keep it on low.
Adding healthcare changes everything for me and my family.
Caitlin, it is.
Learning skills that open new career paths.
Better pay for me means more.
Oh, if there's no list, what were the folders about?
I was going to say, remember those binders, those fake ass binders that were like an
Phase one. Phase one.
Yeah, I think in the binders, didn't we see that it was like everything that was already out? So it was just a sort of a photo op, basically, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So do you find it personally disconcerting that we have these politicians who promise all of these things, and as soon as they get in power, they do the complete opposite? Our hopes are raised. We think they're going to make some inroads against the deep state, and it just seems that the deep state takes control. And like, was it Putin who said the president may think he can do all these good things, but when the men with the suits come and visit him in the briefcases, then things change overnight. JFK stood up. Look what happened to him. Is there any hope for us, Jay? Because it just seems so bleak that we're being insulted at this level.
We are being insulted.
Something that's so obvious. They're talking to us like we're little children. Go away now. Enough said. You just got to believe what we say. Don't be looking into this any further. That's
Santa Claus is real.
People.
Well, you and I are, middle-aged, so we've seen enough of this that we know that, ideology and being an ideologue doesn't get you very far in politics, because politics is all about compromise. So just apart from the conspiracy stuff, I mean, you don't really get into power without the art of the deal and making various compromises. So I'm sure at one level it's just politics as usual and things going on in the background. For example, I mean, there's always things going on in the background that we don't know and we can't see. For example, in the case of Iran and Israel, people don't know that there's a couple operations that Victor Ostrovsky mentions in his books where Israel was actually arming and doing arms deals with Iran.
Yeah, weren't they allies for a while?
Part of the story that no one ever talks about. We don't hear the stories about how British intelligence helped the Ayatollah Khashoggi come to power, who was the mentor of the Ayatollah nowadays. So Khomeini was mentored by Khashoggi, for example. This is the previous Ayatollahs. But we don't hear this side of it. So we're always given these sort of like piecemeal pictures. And who knows what background deals.
Oh, I didn't get him. What?
Given the Nobel Peace Prize this week, then that to me.
How much life did he have? Oh, what? Let me see.
I think it's just kind of
22. So he must have been like at 5.
To be blasé about it or black-pilled or something like that, but that just seems to be the reality of how it works at that level. And so if some good things happen,
how's black-pilled?
We can, I guess, be glad that some good things happen. And if
I didn't look into that term.
Fail, we can expect that anybody in power is going to have to do the. I'm not saying it's right. I'm just saying that this is how power works. Like they're going to have to make these compromises and do these deals, and who knows what the background threats are, like you're pointing at with the briefcase and the, and if they go too far, yeah, exactly. I mean, if you remember, it came out in the JFK files that James Jesus Angleton had a back door to Israel, and all the intelligence that the CIA was getting, was sent directly to Israel. So that's another key element, I think, to what happened with JFK, and that that had to do with the nuclear program, Dimona, and all these different things surrounding the nation state of Israel. It's a big part of it. I'm saying it was the only part of it, but there was other interests as well. Organized crime had an agenda against Kennedys and so forth. And I don't even think the Kennedys are that great. I just think that that's the reality of politics. You can have organized crime fighting another organized crime. That doesn't make one guy good, one guy bad. That's just the reality of it. You know this. By the way, I watched your documentary with you and Sammy. That was really good.
Sons of Ecstasy. Thank you.
Sons of Ecstasy.
So you've got a question here relating to Netanyahu. Does the fact that Netanyahu is meeting Trump instead of facing international court mean that he is a more important puppet in this sinister play and has survived so long?
Well, he's meeting him today, right? Or was that yesterday? I want to see what happens with that.
I went back and I read a bunch of older Likud strategies, and if you go back to what's called the Oded Yanon Greater Israel Project, that was 1982, and in that plan they were really talking about sort of a proto version of what would happen in the Middle East now. So Netanyahu is an interesting character. He spent a lot of time in the U.S. I think he's had a couple different U.S. names and identities.
What? I don't know that.
He's almost kind of a halfway U.S. Israeli citizen, and that's partly, I think, because the attitude of Israeli intelligence is that you want to master and sort of become a member of the society that you go into. The Soviets did a very similar thing in their what's called the Soviet illegals program, where they would have people long-term embedded in another society in another country.
I feel like I heard that one.
It's pretty well known in the intelligence world that really the Soviets and the Israelis are the best at that form of intelligence. And so I think that probably that's what was going on with Netanyahu spending so much time here. That allowed him to really embed himself in and understand American culture and the mindset of the West. And so he became a perfect representative, I guess, of that Likud mindset that Israel
back up. Why do you want to get hit?
Sort of revitalized and independent entity, not relying on the U.S. So the old Likud strategy is to eventually break free supposedly from U.S. dependence. I don't think they're at that stage yet, or else they wouldn't need so much
U.S. aid,
U.S. foreign support, aid, all this stuff. And so in many ways, they sort of make the U.S. their bitch. They make the U.S. their foreign policy enforcer, and that's very well known. I think this is all just out in the open now. Many of us who've known this and talked about it for a long time, like you're not supposed to talk about this, but everybody kind of knows it now. So that's what's going on, is that you have this what's called right wing. I don't know that it actually is, but this right wing view of the Likud program, which is that there doesn't need to be any peace deals. All of the Hamas that was actually set up by the Likud and the Israeli right was to be the sort of foil to the PLO and to keep it destabilized. That was all on purpose. That was all intentional. By the way, Victor Ostrovsky mentions this in his book Strategy of Deception, or Other Side of Deception, excuse me, that this destabilization was put there on purpose. And the same with Syria. This is why there's support for ISIS and Al Qaeda in these surrounding Israel countries like Syria. It's not always a strategy of supporting the terror.
Yeah.
Sometimes they've favored things like a Christian monarchy. They wanted a Christian Coptic government in Egypt at one point because they thought that might be more amenable. And at one point, Mossad supported the Christian phalangists who are Catholics they're Maronites in Lebanon to the north. So it really just depends on what they think.
I'm Dookie, bro, Sam.
Israel at the time.
As am I.
Long story short, this was all about the Seven Nations plan that General Wesley Clark talked about many years ago, that in the Middle East, the strategy would be to take down.
I'm blaming on my mouse right now.
Sort of do regime changes in all the nations surrounding Israel. And Iran is really the last.
Oh my gosh!
Out of those, what's lacking is the government that they'd like in Iran. And by the way, I'm not pro-Iran. I think Iran's crazy. The Shia religion is an insane cult. I do agree with that. But we're always left out key details of the story, like the fact that British intelligence and the CIA brought not just the Shah to power to take out Mossadegh in 1953 in Operation Ajax, but they also supported the Ayatollah and helped him come to power. And even in 1979, in the Iranian Revolution, the CIA had a backdoor channel where they were regularly discussing and talking to the Ayatollah, mainly because they were saying, all right, we'll let you come into power. It's not a huge deal, but the main thing is we want to control and take care of the oil. So as long as there was oil deals in the background that were made, they don't really care about what religious cult leader is running the country.
Yeah, they pretend to care about human rights, and they clicked up with Saudi Arabia and all these other places. So Brzezinski wrote that it was the threat to hegemony was the collaboration between Iran, Russia, and China. We've had a few military analysts come on and discuss that in the last month or so.
I am playing shit.
There's the theory of the tail wagging the dog, but there's the inverse, that Israel is a military outpost for the deep state, helping keep that area of the world divided and conquered, and the US could shut down the weapons, the aid, etc. overnight.
Yeah, true.
And,
dude,
be impotent at that.
how? How's that even possible?
Deploying this divide and conquer deep state strategy in the Middle East. Do you concur with that, or do you think that Israel has got more control over the US?
Get some HP?
It seems like in foreign policy, there is a specific alignment and assurance that is there in the Middle East that Israel has the say-so. Maybe not in everything else, because, for example, you did have, for example, during the Biden administration, a lot of money being given to Iran. But even that could be smoke and mirrors, because as I said, Victor Ostrovsky mentions 2 different programs where Israel had backdoor deals to arm Iran. So why would they be arming their enemy? There could be many reasons for that. But the point being, a lot of this stuff is smoke and mirrors. A lot of this stuff is fake. But there's definitely, the U.S. never does what Israel doesn't want to do in the Middle East, as far as I'm aware. There could be some instances where, well, I take that back. I think, again, I'm not pro-Democrat, but I think, Netanyahu asked basically all the previous presidents to bomb Iran or to do some kind of, and they didn't. So, Clinton didn't, and probably the Lewinsky thing had to do with some degree of blackmail on the part of Israel as well. And in fact, that's even come out in the Times of Israel that people think there was a deal made between over Jonathan Pollard and the blackmail of Clinton through Lewinsky. I don't know if that's verified. It's just a thesis that came out in Israeli news, Times of Israel, about those 2 cases. So in the case of foreign policy, it seems
Jesus, what are you guys doing?
Wants, for the most part. There may be
I don't know. I feel like our tank ain't doing shit, man.
Democrats who, for whatever reason, I don't think they're principled. I just think that there's probably
that's what all he's been doing.
Are going on money deals.
But then again, they do have a lot of fucking poke.
For example, bombing Iran might have hurt somebody in the military-industrial complex's deals with Iran. so maybe that's why they didn't want to do it. I don't know, or they thought it would just be politically unfeasible for the Democratic base. But definitely it seems like Israel has the skill set and the ability to get done what they want, even if it takes them a long time. And by the way, I'm not pro-Iran, and I'm also critical of the Israeli government. So I don't really have a dog in this fight, other than that, it'd be nice for our country to be not running a giant empire and not beholden to foreign powers and foreign espionage.
Jay, are you saying that not bombing the poorest countries in the world and killing millions of people and calling it collateral damage is something that shouldn't be being done? Because Iran chants death to America, death to Israel, all this stuff. Iran's minutes away from having nuclear weapons. We played the Netanyahu montage going back decades with his drawing of the bomb, and oh God, how can it's just as ridiculous as what they tell us about Epstein now. They spew the same lies down our throats. But what shocked me is a lot of people who woke up to the Saddam Hussein has got weapons of mass destruction lie are touting the very same lie to bomb Israel. Let's save the Israeli people. Regime change. If they were bombing the crap out of the UK, I wouldn't be dancing in the streets.
I think the biggest problem too, though, is a lot of people don't like Israel, but Iran doesn't help itself either. Iran's chanting death to America, death to Israel. Other countries don't like America, so why should we like them? At least Israel's our ally. But I understand too that if they're doing some shady ass shit and they're fucking us over, then they shouldn't be our. No. Dude, why? See. All right, let's go back.
Saying, yeah, let's get rid of Starmer. I'd be signing up to fight whoever's bombing me. So anyway, thanks for the super chat, Alex. Do you think they should have said it was classified instead of denying the existence of it, of the list, etc.?
No.
Maybe the timing of releasing the truth is too soon.
That's a good question. I don't.
Why would it be too soon?
Unless there's just a network of control that's still embedded that has the ability to just say, you're going to do what we say. I can't fathom.
If an app was built on an AI code platform, but no one has published it, did it ever really exist?
I mean, I guess it could be you're super incompetent, but I just think that this is just lying. And that makes more sense. So I don't know if they should have argued that. I mean, Alex is saying stuff like, well, if they let all this out, it would collapse the government. I don't buy that.
I don't buy that shit at all.
Let total
pedophiles,
psychopaths go free because
I
mean, this was the argument in 2008 that the housing collapse was necessary because we had to bail out the banks because they're too big to fail. So this is just like a parasitical system propping itself up over and over and over.
And even the reasoning is bad.
Nobody's talking about, for the most part, except for people who are into Bitcoin, is the $5 trillion debt ceiling that is part of this big, beautiful bill. I mean, this is massively going to further destroy the dollar. So better be looking into Bitcoin, in my opinion.
Yeah, I've been watching the dollar slip and slide. So what do you think then about Elon's recent tweets and this political party he is creating?
It's hard to know whether this is motivated out of anger and resentment. I mean, I don't really care either way whether Elon creates a party or not. Obviously we've got two, bullheaded elites that were trying to work together, and that relationship went sour. I have to say that I think on the big, beautiful bill points, it's very nuanced because this is sort of what led to this fissure between Trump and Elon. And they both have points here, actually. So it's true that I think Elon is mad about the bill because it doesn't, if I recall, it doesn't favor a lot of the Tesla.
Yeah, because Trump doesn't like that shit.
Stuff. And he was
Here's my thing about that. I think Trump actually made the right call on that. I think if you want a EV vehicle, that's fine. But I shouldn't be mandated, or is it mandated? I shouldn't be required to buy one. Also, I'm more of like, if I were to get one, I want a hybrid. I still think gas is far superior, and we're not going to really get out of it. It's just going to evolve the gas technology in the future. I think that's what's going to happen. But yeah, it's my opinion.
On some of these government contracts or whatever, so some of that got cut. But also, he's correct that you can't fix the money system and the money supply problem with cutting government spending, because that's not the root of the problem. That's an effect of the problem. The root of the problem is Keynesian economics and Fabian socialist economics and the idea of fiat money. So I think Elon kind of has a little bit of an idea of that. Ironically, if you go back several months, it seemed like Trump had a better understanding of that, which is weird because Trump was the one saying, we got to fix the Federal Reserve. We got to fix this. And then now we got to raise the debt ceiling $5 trillion.
How did he ignore him?
So now it's sort of like Elon's right on this point that cutting spending and Doge, that's fine. But like cutting spending isn't the problem when you have a leaky system that's leaking the money and stored value of the people over time through fiat currency. That's the real problem. So it goes back and forth, I guess, between both of them having good points and having bad points. And then it ends up, I guess, in this big ego battle. And I think Elon's thinking that this will be a counterbalance to the Uniparty or to the GOP. But I mean, my concern there would be that even though it might sound good, this might just turn into another kind of, I mean, the Libertarian Party was pretty much a big failure. It still doesn't really do anything.
Doesn't do shit.
It doesn't even really take votes away, except that perhaps in the last election, Trump thought that the Libertarian Party might be worth trying to appeal to, because he did go and speak to the Libertarian Party.
Do anything.
Him, I'm sure, in some small measure.
A D+.
So maybe Elon thinks that this is just a way to kind of get back at, or maybe he really believes that he could create a third party. I don't know, but third parties just never have done very well in the U.S.
One more ARAM,
because a lot of the Doge,
and then I'm gonna throw another load in, and maybe go for a walk. It's still deciding.
Yeah, my only concern there, and that's true, is that what they might want to do with Elon and Doge is like they demonstrate that look how
digital illustrators, YouTuber assets, commissions open.
AI and tech to run everything. Now,
I guess I can't hate,
just a bunch of like,
but if it's a bot, then I'm gonna hate. Level 23.
The idea might be, hey, why don't we have a?
By the way, I'm human being.
Technocratic system, and then you won't be susceptible to.
All right, sorry about guys. It's a human being.
Of the previous human or organized system and the old legacy system. I'm just worried that they're going to put forward a technocratic solution that might be worse than what we have now.
David Icke's been warning about all this.
Oh, give me Ash! Give me Ash!
He got lambasted when he was predicting all this months ago, and a lot of it's come to fruition. So JP wants to know, hi Jay, we know Jeffrey was knocked off and Prince Andrew should be locked up. How do you see the situation playing out?
Going AP.
Like I've been saying, like I didn't expect them to be this brazen in the cover up, but they basically have done an even more extreme level of cover up than when Epstein killed himself. So now it's like, I mean, if this is the case, then what's the basis for Ghislaine Maxwell to be like, why could she just go free? I mean, like, I don't, this is so insane and so just like ridiculous. Even I'm even like, I don't know what to
little baffled.
I'm starting to think that like the empire's about to strike back. Like we had this impression of maybe small victories with Trump in the last year,
because I liked some of the big beautiful bill, not everything about it, but I wish they would have just like did single bills with it, or single different
things
bills instead of a big beautiful bill.
Golden age, all this kind of stuff. Maybe things will keep. I just don't see how it can if we've not fixed the real problem, which is the central bank control of the economy and the dollars being destroyed like, how is this? It's not going to work. Like, none of the. It's like putting Band-Aids on when you like getting your arm cut off and you put a Band-Aid on it. It's like, this is crazy.
Oh, do you know what? This person is not a fucking. I don't think it's a robot now.
The Empire Strike Back with, we might have a new bio situation. We might have an economic collapse. I also think they're really pushing for the ramping up of the racial stuff. So I think they really want to push another Summer of Love / race war. I think that's what's coming.
What about hyperinflation?
No, it might be a bot.
The debt and get them out of that.
Well, that's what this $5 trillion debt ceiling, raising the debt is. So this is bigger than I think even anything that Biden pushed, and it's way bigger than what they pushed during COVID. And I mean, you're not in the U.S., but for us in the U.S., like 2020 to 2024, like the price of just average stuff went crazy. Not everything, but it seems like really certain staples. For example, eggs are like 5 times what they used to be a few years ago, like 4 years ago. Bacon, steak, like these staple foods are extremely expensive. Gas got to be really high, I think, but under Trump it has come down a little bit. But like a lot of a lot of the necessities, for example, when you go out to eat, even before COVID, like you could go out to eat with your wife and you might spend
$30,
maybe $60, $70 at a decent place. Pretty much every meal now is $100. People were talking about the other day.
I spent
and they ordered 3 pizzas for a party, and it was like $150. So like,
what kind of pizza?
Inflation is actually hitting the middle and
I get an extra large pepperoni
because their
wings,
like just dying.
And the extra large is like 16 or
$5 trillion,
17 slices. It's fucking huge.
We've ever had.
Wings.
I mean, this is going to be like even worse than what
3 beers.
Biden did during
ranch
COVID with
for like
with
40 something.
Stimulus and all.
I don't know. I don't know about that. And the pizza's like
stimulus.
top
People don't understand.
quality
When
pizza.
The government just hands out
the extra large itself is like
1,000, 2,000,
$30.
Too, by the way.
So maybe it's like 50, 60.
Down the road with.
I'm gonna look at my fucking statement now.
Valued in the next 3, 4, 5 years.
You deserve the best. At Harbor Freight, you can afford it. We design our own tools with performance and durability in mind, and hire the best engineers to put them through their paces. These tools get tested for countless hours, and if they can't stand the test of time, they don't make it onto our shelves. Performance, durability, affordability. Only one place does it all. Whatever you do, do it for less at Harbor Freight.
Yeah,
and it was crazy levels, like 10 or 20%.
Whatever you do,
added to the money supply during COVID, which just massively devalued the dollar. So it's going to get even worse, and that's why Bitcoin is so important.
Yeah, it's a sneaky way of doing it, folks. You kiss your pensions goodbye, kiss your savings goodbye. All of a sudden, your currency's worthless. You're going around with wheelbarrows full of cash, and by the time you get anywhere, it's worth a fraction of what when you left.
Get out of here!
Thank you for the super chat, Jay. Are the Knights Templar Freemasons gearing up for a final crusade, possibly looking for the Ark of the Covenant in Iran? Well, that wins the most esoteric question of the day award. Thanks, Vinny.
Yeah, I've never heard the theory that the Ark of Covenant's in Iran. I don't know about that, but
yeah, I heard that one before.
The U.S. deep state and Israel
I also heard of like Iran has this
this
creature
crusade against the Muslim world.
I don't know exactly what it is, but
psyops and social engineering purposes.
Supposedly, this creature in Iran, what was in Afghanistan? Like the Marines went in and they got caught by this creature and killed one of the people, and they had to dip out. The bullet's gonna hit it.
But I don't know that has to do necessarily with the Knights Templar. I don't think the medieval Knights Templars really exist anymore like they did back in the day. I don't think Freemasonry has as much power as it used to. There are still a lot of high-level politicians and elites that are members of the Masonic order, but yeah, I think that really a lot of this is out in the open. They don't have to hide anymore.
Nice.
So it's not like we're worried about, is there some secret group? Like, we don't have to worry about this. Like, we all now know that we're run by central bankers and corporate elites, and that's who's pulling the strings, and they're out in the open.
Not today, big boy.
You know what Blavatsky talked about, which is like the unveiling of the secret hierarchy. It's not a bunch of mystical things. It's actually just intelligence operatives and bureaucrats. And I mean, there are some people that run cults that are involved in this, like the Crowleyan cults and whatnot. But
yeah, what's that bitch's name that's like associated with JAC? A lot of rappers, like a witch.
Yeah, Professor Hamamoto has done a lot of research on the Knights. So Vinny, maybe when he's back on, maybe get some questions ready for him. So Sean O'Brien, are they discrediting the government on purpose in order to usher in AI overlord Skynet?
I think this is a big part of it. In fact, in the Rockefeller document that had the four scenarios of the one that was famously very close to the COVID crisis, COVID stuff. The first scenario had a situation. This was the 2010 or 12 Rockefeller bio document that was so famous, very similar to Event 201. The first scenario had a very reminiscent of Klaus Schwab sort of Great Reset idea, where the Western governments are shown to be notoriously corrupt, and then the solution that's offered is AI and technocracy to get rid of the human corruption element. So I think you're spot on there that what they want to do, especially from Klaus and his crew, like that the World Economic Forum's explicit.
Well, couldn't the AI have a bias to be also corrupt?
We will fix government and human corruption with supposed AI technocracy running things. But
damn, got with a snowball.
That's only as good as the people that program it, and if the programmers are corrupt, then we're just going to be run by a corrupt AI. So they're all like post-human, anti-human, anti-natalists. So like, why would we think that that's going to be better? So yeah, exactly. I think I got spot on.
Grab this first.
You're getting asked if you know anything about Pam Bondi's history with Epstein, going back to his first arrest, Florida trial.
I've heard of this, but I don't know the whole. But no, I don't know this whole background.
Okay, Ultra Heat Seeker. Did you see the media coverage? They're pushing hard. This was all a conspiracy theory. Yeah, mainstream media now are just saying anyone who's pushing back on this, we're just conspiracy whack jobs. And that's the mainstream media for you folks.
Well, interestingly, the mainstream media liked this conspiracy theory when they believed that there were connections to Trump. So even the mainstream media, right, was pushing Epstein when they
remember that
for a while that they could make a connection to Trump. I don't know whether there is or isn't. There's a lot of speculation, especially given Elon's comments. I don't know, but what I'm saying is that this immediately shows you the dishonesty of legacy media when not too long ago, I think it was around the time that when the election was happening, they were the idea of the Epstein stuff resurfaced because there was yet another supposed, publication that was going to have his black book and his,
oh my God,
which we've already seen.
Oh my gosh.
I did a show with Burmis at the time about maybe a year ago when they were talking about a new Epstein, files were going to come out or whatever. This happens like every few months, right? Every 6 months, there's this new Epstein thing that's going to happen. And then it ends up not really being.
Well, I need to look into it again, but I could have sworn when they caught Epstein, they caught some other dude in Mexico, the exact same island, exact same thing. But I didn't follow through with that story.
Being much because it keeps getting covered up. But the mainstream media was pushing the idea that it was real until now they've doubled down on it not being real. So again, they're just liars.
Got about 10 minutes left with Jay, folks, so please get your final questions in. And I've made Jay big, especially for this comment from Mindhack. Jay, your Hawaiian shirt mimics the color and aesthetics of the background perfectly. Certainly does.
It's very it's Miami Vice around here, so
isn't it? Yeah. So you touched on Diddy earlier. Diddy, the verdict came in. the mainstream media are hyping up this maximum sentence scenario.
It doesn't happen.
Commentators we've had on, such as Hamamoto Lionel, are thinking more likely 2 years, and Hamamoto thinks that Diddy's gonna retire quietly because he's faced a big sentence and he's beat it, and he's probably had the living daylight scared out of him. Lionel thinks that Diddy now is a certified pimp. He didn't snitch. He's got more street cred than ever, and he's gonna use that.
That was the longest fucking power hit ever.
Where do you lie on predictions of what Diddy's actual sentence may be, and what Diddy's game plan after that will be? Whether he's going to make a comeback or go off peacefully.
Usually when there's a scandal like this, people take a few years off, right? And then they kind of let people forget about it. And then
he wasn't making music before this, though.
You know, something else.
Like, he hasn't made music in a long ass time.
Some other thing or some other project. So, I don't know. Maybe he pops back up as a, I don't know, American Idol judge or something. I don't know what. I know that does that even exist? I don't watch TV, so I don't know like what TV shows exist, but maybe he comes out with something like that, you know, some sort of an innocuous rebranding. That's probably what he'll do. I mean, and that's a great point about
the sniper has awoken
now. I guess because he didn't, you know, but actually, I suspect that he was probably always in some degree like working with the system, because he was investigated back in 2002 or 3, and although this is allegedly, to use the Cat Williams terminology, right, like he could have been involved with the system since then.
I want to fuck up this Ziggs right now.
That's a if you do something pretty notorious and you get caught, and you're a high profile person, like it's a perfect opportunity for you to work for the system. You become an informant, you become some kind of, you know, protected insider, you know, confidential informant, whatever. I mean, I think that's very likely for a lot of these people. And I say that not just because of speculating about Diddy, but one of the things I've covered in my books, and especially in the 3rd book, which is about to come out. You can get pre-orders, by the way. If you go to jasonanalysis.com in the shop, you can get Esoteric Hollywood Part 3. I've finished it. It's at the publisher. It'll be out from the printer in about 2 or 3 weeks. So you can get signed copies in the shop at my website, jasonanalysis.com. But one thing I covered in that book is the many A-listers and celebrities who are on record for having been spies, assets, and confidential informants. So people don't think about celebrities occupying that role, but they absolutely do. We always think of this as like, oh, there's a criminal organization and the cops, you know, get a insider in there who pretends to be, you know, a drug dealer, and he gets into the organization, and that happens. But yeah, but that also happens with high profile A-listers, many of whom have been spies on record. It was just declassified, by the way, a few years ago in the National Archives of the U.S., which I cite in the book. Several people that were suspected as Hollywood spies and have now been confirmed to be spies. People like Sterling Hayden worked for the OSS. John Ford, the famous director, worked for the OSS. So this is a long-standing tradition to have high-profile people working for intelligence. And in my opinion, allegedly, all of the Diddy stuff points in that direction too.
So do you think he'll just get a short sentence then?
Prime Day is here with great deals on whatever you're getting into next. Bust the move.
Play. Bang,
Bust the move.
You need a professional mover? I got a guy that assembles furniture without the manual.
What?
Probably.
Okay. All right. A couple more questions to go. We've got Vinny is back. Why didn't Trump place his hand on the Bible during inauguration? Was it the King James Bible or a normal one? Freemasons use the former. I did not notice any of that. Did you notice any of that?
I wasn't aware of that. I don't know. I mean, I don't know if Trump actually believes. I mean, he claims to be some kind of Protestant Christian, I think. But, you know, with politicians, it's always hard to know if they really believe that or if they're just sort of giving the impression for optics that they're some kind of believer. But I know that, like, you know, in Christian theology, like, you can't be a dispensationalist Zionist, which is what Trump really tries to promote and appeal to a lot of the time. That's not really Christianity at all. That's more of a recent aberration coming out of John Nelson Darby and the Plymouth Brethren and Oxford University to push right before, by the way, the nation state of Israel into American Christianity, this idea that you must also support the establishment of a socialist, utopian, atheist nation state in the Middle East.
So Hajit is asking, what are your thoughts about what 2030 will look like? I noticed Hollywood movies depicting 23 and 923 in various ways, clocks, doors, numbers, etc. September 2030.
That was nice. That was just really nice.
I wouldn't read too much into numbers or clocks in movies. I think that's a little overboard. No offense, but I think that that's a little that's too much speculation. I think that if we look at what the elite themselves say about what they have envisioned for 2030, it's mega cities, it's, depopulation, it's getting rid of U.S. sovereignty, it's AI control grid, maybe not fully in place, but moving towards that. So look, we know what the plan is. The plan is one world government under a socialist, technocratic super state.
Oh, they fucked up,
by select areas being mega cities / smart cities. That's the government of the future. That's what they want. And they have goals for 2030, 2040, 2050. So 2030, they're probably a little behind on a lot of these goals because, I mean, when I go to if I go to the hotel on the road, I mean, the internet doesn't even work. So I think we're a good ways away from the total Skynet takeover. I mean, the internet doesn't even work. I don't know how they're going to have like tracking and tracing of everything, but they might find some good crises between now and 2030 that help get the agenda back on track for timelines. So I think that's why I'm concerned about, bad things happening in the next 5 years.
Including war, perhaps, because a few people in the chat are asking whether you see any major wars.
Well, now it looks like we thought this Middle Eastern situation was settled. Oh yeah, wants to go after Iran again, and they may push Trump to let that be back on the table. I wouldn't be surprised, and that could be a bigger war for sure. So. Look, I think we got the bio scenario, we got the race war scenario, we got the economic collapse scenario, and we got war. I think that's the major ones that I could think of. There could be something else, but I mean, I think these four are the main concerns.
Yeah, ceasefire, in my opinion, equals reload. I think that Iran hit back with more than was anticipated.
No, bastard.
Both sides, and they're doing a reload right now. And the whole thing is about regime change. It's got nothing to do with the nonsense about the nuclear weapons. And there'll be an excuse. What kind of pretext do you think? A false flag, perhaps? Something that will justify Trump getting on the desk like Bush got on the desk. I have just launched an invasion of Iraq.
I don't think, by the way, I don't mean to be contrarian, but if you look at like Stuxnet and the things that Israel and Mossad have been up to, they've been clearly doing real things to set back Iran.
Oh.
How far they've been set back, I don't know. It's hard to tell. But
I'm gonna throw it this way.
The assassination
see if we get
of
it.
These generals, and the nuclear scientists, and Stuxnet, and
yeah.
If you read books about the Mossad, they brag about. Like they wouldn't be doing all this if it wasn't to actually set Iran back. I don't know what they have or don't have, or how far they are or not in their projects. But if I was Iran, I wouldn't. It would make sense to try to get a bomb, and even people who are pro-Iran argue that them having a bomb would actually be a counterbalance in the Middle East, and then Israel couldn't run roughshod over everyone.
No,
I'm
but
not saying I support that. I'm just saying that's the.
I think it's a horrible idea. That's a bad rationale
I think
because
there probably is there's some truth to that.
I
don't believe this idea that they're 2 weeks away. Obviously, that's, you know, he's been saying, BB's been saying that for however many.
No one should have nukes.
It may not be 2 weeks, but it might be.
Why would you want to give nukes to someone that wants to kill?
And that's why Mossad was
America
so
wants to put everyone under Sharia law or whatever. I don't get that.
Well, if you look at North Korea, they said exactly the same things, and then he's got the bomb, and now they leave him alone. You look at Libya. Libya got rid of everything and complied, and then he ended up getting beeped up the backside and terminated.
We came, he saw, he died.
Yeah, exactly. So I think they've just given the biggest motivation in the world for Iran to get a bomb by their own actions.
Well, I also think that Iran can't really take on the U.S.
Yeah.
And Israel knows that, and so you know, they might be trying to push them into a corner, but you know, they also have an ideology of martyrdom, so they may not. They may
Exactly.
be.
So why would you want them to have a bomb?
Themselves in some giant conflict? Who knows?
Yeah. All right, we're almost at the hour, my friend. Is there anything you'd like to say in conclusion to the viewers watching this?
Again, you
no!
can check out if you like a lot of these.
I did not even see that on the
side
floor.
of, like celebrity.
I am tripping.
Stuff. You can get my new book, Esoteric Hollywood 3, and each of the books stands alone. You don't have to read the first two to understand the third. They're really just essays on the overlap between Hollywood, intelligence agencies, secret societies, and cults, and how that's portrayed in a lot of different films. So it's a lot of film essays. It's a lot of secret society, espionage type stuff. And you can get that at jaysanalysis.com in the shop. And all of the copies are signed. You don't have to request it. Anything that you buy is signed. And we're about 2 or 3 weeks out from the third book coming out. So go ahead and get that. And you can follow me on Twitter and YouTube and everywhere else.
We always get a lot in the comments saying that they love your voice, especially the females. Have you narrated any of these books in your own voice?
Maybe I need to, or maybe I'll narrate it in the Trump voice or in the Cat Williams voice.
Esoteric Hollywood, okay, Joe? Ain't nobody gonna booty hole.
That's my cat.
I like that.
Put one in the chat if you want Jay Dyer.
Let's see,
to narrate
Kipto.
the books in
Hello, how are
your
you
voice,
doing?
folks.
20 minutes ago. Let's
And
see
you
what
would be all
Kipto
over
is.
that. I'm going to put a 1. There we go.
Kipto has no picture. Joined
All right,
May
thanks for coming on,
2025.
man. All of Jay's links are down there. I'll put them in the live chat now. I'll let him go and close the show.
So,
Brother, take care.
All right, thanks,
Thank
Sean.
you.
Why?
Nice one.
When I start twitching
So
again, I get
we
so much
have
fucking
got
bots.
Charlie Robinson coming on tomorrow night to discuss these things. Friday night we have got. Oh my goodness, this is a crazy one. Let me just get the title for you before. It's one of the craziest titles we've ever had. Satanic Defilement Rituals Survivor coming
What
up.
is this?
Wyatt?
Sanctum?
Let me read that again, just one more time to let it sink in. Satanic Defilement Rituals Survivor. Friday coming up. We are speaking to Kathy O'Brien, possibly coming back with Roseanne.
Morgana skin?
It'll be a first to have Roseanne on. I know she's watched some of my Epstein coverage. So we've got some huge stuff coming up. I've spent 3 hours today editing the Epstein's niece video, Anya Wick. She's talking about the Clintons, Bohemian Grove, the cult of Baal.
All right.
Just to drop a few things in there. Wait till you see the trailer, folks. Hopefully, we're going to have that out next week. We just got to run it by her one more time and get that up and ready to go, possibly next week. And she's also said that Jeffrey might still be alive. Yep. She talks about the occult side of it.
Oh, what the fuck is this?
The cult of Baal in particular. No Knights Templar though, Vinny. Cult of Baal. All right. The stream is
What did I
going to
get?
end. And where's it going to take you next? Let me have a quick look. It's going to take you next to UK Cops Shocking Stories.
That's a dope icon. I like that one.
Which is a podcast that's going to be coming out in 2 weeks.
Hourly Amazon employees earn an average of over $22 per hour in communities across America.
Where you at? 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 Ooh. All right, let's see what other conspiracy theories we got. Feds drop bombshell new video of Jeff. No, that was a day ago. We'll filter it. We'll give us last hour. Fact or fiction? Conspiracy theories in America with Emily Jansky, Jashinsky, and Dan Torrentine. Let's see what.
Let's talk about this. It's conspiracy theories in America. A quick quiz to establish your credibility as conspiracy theorists. Emily, did the Wuhan virus come from a bat in a wet market or from a Chinese lab?
It came from a Chinese American lab, Mark.
Chinese American. The Fauci Institute. Dan,
unfortunately.
Dan, bat in a wet market or a lab?
I think a lab.
Okay. Did Oswald act alone? Emily?
No.
Dan?
No.
No. You guys have good bona fides on this one. All right.
Bad.
All right. Last test one.
Oh,
before we
that
get
was
to
hard.
The main event.
So what else I got?
Are Travis
Open it up.
and Taylor a real couple or just a
Pentakill
PR
icon.
They're a real couple.
Oh, yeah.
and that's even more interesting, I think, than the PR creation.
Help me.
Dan, you both think they're real couples. All right. You both went 3 for 3. Congratulations. Now, here we go. The acid test. And what's
All
in
according to
the
plan.
news? Emily, did
Who we got?
Jeffrey Epstein kill himself?
Clown catch.
So Jeffrey Epstein
And
may
Snow
have
Silver.
killed himself, but that doesn't preclude, or that doesn't, that's not mutually exclusive with the idea that there's a broader conspiracy that's being covered up. I doubt
Right.
that he killed himself, but I don't think it's mutually exclusive.
So with the conspiracy to cover up the other people who committed crimes around it, that's what you're referring to, right?
Right.
Okay. Dan, did he kill himself?
I don't believe he did.
Yeah.
No.
You guys are nutsy cuckoo conspiracy theorists. Love it. Love having
2025.
Love having
Legit.
open-minded guests on. Okay, so let's say, for the sake of argument, that the FBI director and his deputy, who previously were strong proponents of the notion that there was something rotten in the state of Jeffrey Epstein, but now are the leading validators of the notion that he committed suicide and there's no cover-up around it. Let's assume that it is a cover-up. Emily, who will expose it? How will it be exposed? If this is just a big deep state lie, how will it be exposed? Will it be by the press? Will it be by a whistleblower? How will it be exposed?
I mean, I think really similar to what we've seen over several decades of the Kennedy case, which is that you get these trickles of testimonies from people with knowledge that go into media reports bubbling up a few times a year, and the public is left to sort of put the puzzle together from the outside as these disclosures leak into public view, whether in media reports or just from first-person testimonies. And that's already what's happened over the course of the last 6 or so years with Jeffrey Epstein, whether it's Alex Acosta or Vicky Ward's great reporting that she's had 4 sources on the record saying that Epstein he belonged to intelligence, which is also what Alex Acosta said on the record. So just putting these puzzle pieces together, I think, is probably the best the public is ever going to get on the story.
Baby. All right, so I think I'm gonna take a break. I need to take a little gaming break. What did I get right now? We'll check before I take this break. Manchester, I think it was like 2 wins, 2 losses. Win, loss. Was that today? 7-9. So it was 2 wins, 3 losses, and there were horrible losses. That one I got an S-. They forfeited. But yeah. That's what I got right now. So I'm going to take a break for a while. I'll be back on. I'm just going to start the stream this time. Probably back on within maybe after an hour. But all right, I'll be back. Please follow, share, subscribe, whatever. Pass it around, chat. All that good stuff. I really appreciate it, and it goes a long way for me because I'm trying to get back into the streaming game. But yeah, I'll catch you guys in a little bit. Peace.